boom, then he goes.
Right. I would have liked to have seen something to make him start that, because it's a very rapid from nothing walk.
Yes.
Like if you were coming through a doorway, if you were slamming a phone, if you were setting a drink down, if you were doing a shot, if you were throwing a book away, if somebody had said something to him to cause him to turn really quickly, because the information is not delivered to him, the information is told to us, and we're assuming it's delivered to him.
What I think happened is, and I'm showing you the guys on the phone. I'm showing them. You see, there's a table right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he has gotten the message over here that he was the one that had the ape, and so they should have cut to him standing there with a voiceover going, "It was sold to Governor Breck," and then he walks away from the table.
Well, he should have slammed down a phone at that table or something.
Yeah.
This is actually a really, really good point. Hoskins just teleported.
Oh.
Wait.
Chubby Finger just teleported. The room that Tubby was in was a completely Chubby Finger was a completely different room. He calls the control center. They get the information back, and then all of a sudden Hoskins teleports into Breck's office.
Yeah. I'm going back and looking at because he's in a much darker office when he's hitting the buzzer and everything. Yeah,
there's a delivery element that's missing that we needed.
Because there's two chimps in there as well. They're not in the governor's office.
I was just having a conversation with a friend that I do another podcast with about how film's language can be that you can have a succession of scenes where characters are jumping within locations, but you have to be so smart, and this isn't. You have to be so smart to say, okay, if they were having this conversation, don't make an immediate thing like a phone call that somebody then it insinuates they get it. So whenever our guy in the control center is on the little red hot phone, it insinuates that he is getting information and passing information because phone calls are immediate. We know that. Right. They needed something, even though I do like how this cuts, and the shot that we're going to get with the governor is the exact opposite of what the shot was before, where I said its motivation for movement was wrong. The motivation for movement within this shot is perfect. He's walking to it. He crosses. We see the other people step into it. It's beautifully constructed. It makes sense why the camera is an active participant. But damn, I didn't even catch that either, that Tubby was suddenly maybe when you have Chubby Fingers, it has magic within it, and you have that little red button, it also teleports you.
Well, and I'll talk about this tomorrow. There's another what feels like a teleportation moment as well. But this probably goes back to your Jaws log comment. I mean, when you break this down, it doesn't make sense. But if you're just watching it, it unfolds in such a way that you're just like, okay, I get it. I see what's going on here. There's some drama. There's some tension. Stuff is built up here. But just in terms of the movement of the characters, it doesn't really make sense when you look at it.
Or if you want to give it even a little more drama, what you do is you have Chubby Finger calling. He's saying, all right, tell me about this. And then you cut back to him, but you don't hear the information being given that it was sold to governor. You see his eyes goes wide. He throws slams down the phone. You see him run down the hallway, bursts into here where the governor's over by the table. And then he goes, "You had the ape the whole time." And then he goes, "What?" And then he comes running over to his desk and sit down.
Just want a character to hear, "What?"
Well, as I'm watching that shot too, Tubby, you could very easily fix this, that Tubby is the propellant of the scene if he opens that door to the governor's room and steps in. If he's the thing that is the smash cut, which is the door opening, then it makes sense.
He'd be the walking figure in the moment. Yeah, that would make sense.
And you could even, as he walked in, maybe the governor's right there and looks to him, and then the camera follows him the way it has, but the way they enter the shot, we'd ask for a smash cut or something that would be that abrupt cut thing. That's perhaps what's missing here.
So there is a small jump in logic that we follow because we know who Caesar is and we know who's in the ape cage. But they're jumping to the conclusion that the chimpanzee that wasn't on the manifest that was then sold to Breck is the actual talking ape.
Yeah, that's a big leap.
That's a little bit of a jump in conclusion.
A discrepancy in paperwork does not equal the world's smartest ape.
What?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to disagree. That's every time I've ever had a discrepancy, talking ape was the result.
That's it. It's got to be a talking ape.
Well, speaking of like this kind of jump to conclusions, this moment, like Culp is like, Chubby Fingers says like, I'm willing to execute the ape immediately on your verbal order.
orders.
And I'm like, whoa, well, this got fast. Shit,
Yeah.
we're just going to execute this ape?
Well, also, wait, so we can do verbal versus written orders? Why aren't people just doing everything verbal so there's no, list of who did what and get caught for something? He just told me to do it. That's why I'm doing it. I didn't tell you that.
Well, logically, Brett comes back and says you'll have it in writing. It would be even crazier if Culp had said, I'm willing to execute the ape immediately on your written orders, and Brett goes, you'll have it verbally. Or, that's a little more intense.
I thought the construction of this was exact opposite of what it should have been. It should have
now execute him. Yeah.
It should have started with, can I have your written order? I'm not writing down anything. That way they can trace it back to me. They had the tension right, but the conversation backwards.
It would have been funny if Brett had repeated what they always say to the apes and just do. To call.
Tubby, do.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I'm gonna call out another great shot that is so Thompson. Is whenever the governor is looking up at them and the two ding dongs are standing in front of him in black suits and all but closing out the frame except for the center. And it's a flat shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he is such a toy in this shot that he feels like he's the one in power, but they're closing in on him. And it starts, to me, that's where the narrative of these two characters really being the puppet masters really is
guiding him.
Yeah, there's something to and it's the reason I keep going on about Thompson, that it's people that understand that if I do certain things within a frame, it tells you a story that's not being told, obviously, but I am telling you these people are controlling him.
So he's Dooku to their Palpatine?
Yes. Dooku. I swear every time I see that movie, it's like Dooku.
I know.
The other part that I kind of felt was a little hole fall through is that they have this chimpanzee and they need him to speak in order to close this file and write it down. I guess we just can't execute apes without closing a case or a file. There was just some. It doesn't.
Well, okay, so what they're saying is if this is Caesar, he has to talk to prove that he's a talking ape. Otherwise, if we execute him and he never talks, we can't actually close the file on the talking ape because we haven't found him yet.
So, Todd, when you were talking earlier, you wanted Breck to have a little more kind of conversation about what he needs to have evidence and proof. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have that dialogue a little bit earlier so we know why we need this case closed, why we need to have him talk. I didn't understand the relevance of that if they're just going to execute him. I want to know. Well, he's done.
I want to know how Breck is. I want to know how Breck is so confident that he'll get Caesar to talk.
Well, I thought the same thing. It's like if he's smart enough to talk, the cognitive ability to create, understand, reaction, action, would Caesar not go, I'm not talking, I want to live?
Yeah.
They're going to bring down the purple ray. They're going to bring down the light bulb that they can tell the truth again, make him sign some paperwork. But no, I needed Breck. It would have been nice for Breck to say something. I need something publicly. I need something to show the public that this threat is over. I need something to quell the ape uprising by showing them that their leader is dead. That would be a little more powerful to me. Why do we need to close a file? We need to make an example of this ape, and we need to show them how we reign in control. I
do think that we got Tubby and what's the other guy's name?
Hoskins.
Hoskins, thank you.
Culp is in Gulp and Hoskins.
God. It would have been nice if Hoskins, especially when you have three people in a conversation, if each one of them is taking just a slightly different approach toward the center that they all want. If Hoskins had even said, shouldn't we preserve him so we can study him? Anything like that, instead of this the conversation, is taken from the wrong point on the signing documents versus verbal. It's also missing its center, which is to talk about what the ape means to them and what, if anything, if he questions, shouldn't we do something to study him? And then if the governor slams a fist down, then you can show him, and he's almost not so one note because he's listened to a different opinion and decided that's the note he is.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But
So
again,
how
we
do-
still have no motivation to why he hates these apes so much.
No, we don't.
Right.
And again, when we get to the new films and Gary Oldman and that wonderful film,
Gary Oldman's in them?
he's in one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yep. He's in the second one.
It basically,
I really have not watched these.
Good. So keep not watching it because trust me, you are going to love them.
yeah, they're great. And the reason I bring that up again is there is truth to characters who come across as one thing, but because of modern filmmaking and because Matt Reeves is just a damn good filmmaker,
Yeah.
he allows for moments of breath where they aren't even big moments, but you begin to understand motivations. And if the governor had just an ounce of it, even if it's looking at a picture of his wife or like we've talked about, something that just said something happened.
Or maybe him, like he has a daughter that's hanging out with a baby chimpanzee, and you don't even have to know anything about it. He's just looking at that picture for some reason.
I'm not sure what the hanging out with the baby chimpanzee.
Well, you don't. That's what I'm saying.
Is the
You
baby
don't know what
chimpanzee mauling her
you
face?
See a picture of his wife, and you see a picture of his daughter, maybe with a chimpanzee, and you don't know why this is special to him. Did something happen between the two of them?
The chimpanzee's face is like X'd out, or
Did his wife
half
leave him
cut
for a
out of the
chimpanzee?
picture.
But yeah, it's one of those things where you get to make your own decisions on what you think happened. Why is he looking at this picture? But he's got to have some reason to hate these
Right.
apes instead of just I'm in charge, and so I want to put people down because I'm the man.
I really want one of those like classic like horror film photos where it's a picture of a perfect family, and it's like you just see a cut that eliminates like half of an ape person. Like, why was that ape cut out of the photo?
Well, it would have been nice to have some motivation. We're not going to get it.
Well, I don't know because I haven't seen the end of the movie. Maybe there will be.
Oh, well, that's right. That's right.
Hey,
I still
Sean,
got like half the movie
I've seen
to
it.
go.
I've seen it. You aren't getting that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to spoil that for you right now.
Spoilers.
All right. Is anything else we want to throw in?
That's it for me.
All right. That's
I'm
minute
good.
47 in the books. I want to take 2 seconds to really.
All right, you're done. Thank you for taking those 2 seconds as we wrap up.
I want to take these 2 seconds to tell Sean he's done on the podcast. We're firing him.
But we're coming over for the vodka.
What I want to do is I want to thank all the people that have been finding our podcast during the entire COVID drama. We've seen a lot of listens going up. We've seen a lot of people joining our social media platforms. And we're going to, hopefully by the next time we get together to record next week, I will have gotten some of those names and we'll read out because we really do want to say thank you to everybody who's been out there supporting. And it was one of the things that got us excited to get back in here as our lives kind of get back to somewhat normal and start recording again. So if you're a member of that group that has joined on, thank you so much. Please let your friends know about us. We ask that all the time. You guys coming out and supporting us means the world to us. Have them join social media. I don't care whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever. That's the great place to go to keep up with us and what's happening. So push that for us. Let people know about us. Obviously, you're doing it already. Do some more. Anyway, that's it. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The minute of the apes. The minute